So the coxless fours, so you can see the crews just need to get the boats straight themselves. Looks like they're ready to go to me.
And both of them had fairly good races yesterday, winning by 3 lengths or so. Tideway Scullers beating Hunan from China by 3 lengths, and Thames beating Molesey by 3 1/4 lengths. So could be a tight race, Greg.
Attention! Go!
That was an extraordinarily really long hold that we seem to see them waiting on the start there, but it doesn't seem to have affected them too much. As you say, we should be in for a good race. They had it fairly easy yesterday then if they were able to win by 3 lengths. But we see them getting away. This looks quite competitive. Both these crews row on the tidal Thames. They will know each other well. Tideway Scullers and Thames are competitive clubs. The umpire's got his work cut out straight away, trying to steer the Thames crew back onto their station, and they're clashing already.
And once again, a race being stopped. Thames well out of their station, I would have thought, but early in the race.
I think he's going to stop them, and I think he's going to restart this one. Because I don't think that had gone far enough that he's going to bother to DQ people. I actually wonder if this is Boris Rankov again.
It looks like Boris. It looks like he's got a lot of work to do with the red flag today, but this time the red flag is saying stop rowing rather than you're disqualified, and he'll take them back to the start because the clash happened early.
I think that's a good call to make, that the crews went off and they're immediately crashing into each other. It is Boris Rankov again. He's having a very eventful morning. Let's hear if he's going to explain what he's going to do and if we can pick it up.
Right. Okay, bow pair Thames, touch her up.
So I think he's going to do a restart from where they are on the course. This is quite an interesting one.
Yes, so it's within the rules, but you don't see it happen all that often.
So he's lined them up, he's trying to get them level and straight, and then he's going to start them. Scullers saying we were ahead. That's not fair.
Scullers.
This is rowing, it's an outdoor sport, you deal with what you get.
Yes, it's a difficult circumstance and quite a unique Henley solution, I think. It doesn't happen in international racing. But
we'd be back to the start, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Now, if I was in the cruise, you'd be trying to nudge your boat up, try and get 2 feet. That's what they're doing. The bow pairs are both rowing along, trying to nudge their boats ahead. Now Boris is just going to start them again. We've got a race which is going to be about 1,800 metres.
Attention!
Go, just go. Don't wait for the go.
It's very hard to hold them back now. Let's see if they can keep in their stations after that initial clash just at the island, where it's normally fairly calm and you don't get such swirly water up there. But
well, it's pretty good conditions. It's pretty good conditions there. You can see it's still pretty calm. They've made a decent second start to this one, and Scullers again look like they've got into a rhythm. The crews seem to have stayed nicely separated this time, and I think we're going to be in for a good one here.
Yes, it's a good close race, very evenly matched crews, and it was a close race in the worst possible way earlier on when they clashed. But Thames on this side of the course, they won the Wyfold back in 2006, so that's a long time between drinks, and the Tideway Scullers crew, as you said, Greg, they would know each other quite well from rowing on the Tideway, you'd expect.
Yeah, that's right. They'll have seen each other, they'll have trained, and on the large expanse, which is the tidal course that we see the Oxford and Cambridge boat race happen on these 2 crews, really at either ends of that boat race course. Thames based in Putney, Tideway Scullers based in Chiswick, and we're in for a great race, really. Good pace there as we're coming down. They're going to be through the barrier and getting into the sort of empty area of the course where it gets quiet, really, where the crowds aren't on either side. It's very, very balanced, and really got to focus in on your boat and keep yourself moving now.
And the Scullers crew said after their race yesterday that they were nervous about the Chinese. Of course, they didn't know them or how good they were. And then we heard them saying earlier that they thought they were in front when the crews clashed. Well, I think Tideway Scullers have now established a lead and are in front at this stage of the race. They're the crew in the white with the red and gold hoops, leading the crew on the right of the screen, which is Thames Rowing Club number B, or letter B crew.
Yeah, that's right. The crew from Scullers were a bit worried about the crew they raced yesterday, the Chinese crew. Some of the punditry, our friend Dan Spring, known as Fat Sculler, had suggested the Chinese crew might be strong, but they were very pleased to have knocked them out and found their way through today. And Tideway Scullers doing well in this race. As we have a look here, in on that Thames crew. Still moving pretty well, but you can see the pain now starting to come onto their faces. Looking into the two-seat there, Will Downey in the two-seat, starting to show the work he's putting down.
And Downey is an interesting story as well. He's back after last year, in 2015, being carried out of the boat with a big injury in a training camp. So to find his way back into the boat and at Henley after what was obviously a serious problem last year is a great effort for him. But yesterday, they beat Molesey B by 3 or so lengths in the Thames crew. And now having a bit of a battle halfway through the course with this efficient Tideway Scullers crew out in front.
The Tideway Scullers crew have handled the conditions, handled what was thrown at them quite well. I was recalling that they train on that boat race course. Of course, the last time any of us might remember an incident that we had like today was that time when we had a swimmer in front of the Oxford and Cambridge boat race. If you remember, on that occasion, the race was called to a halt, and then the umpire on that day did exactly what Boris did here, which was to say, I'll take control of the situation, we'll have to restart the race, we'll have to do a rolling start, and that's exactly what Boris did here. The difficult thing for the rowers is you've just got to handle whatever's thrown at you, and I think Scullers have done that probably slightly better here.
Yes, you need to be composed in all conditions, whether it's the water conditions or how the race unfolds or incidents. I think it's always good to prepare for a mishap and hope that you're better prepared for a mishap than your opponent, because plenty of mishaps happen, perhaps even more at Henley with the course, with the wind and the tide that you don't get on international 6-lane courses. And also in match racing, it tends to be a little bit more aggressive, and there do appear more incidents, and we've seen a couple today.
We have seen a couple today, and this one now has got more into the pattern that you might expect. That this crew from Tideway Scullers, very strong B crew, because they are listed in the programme as the Tideway Scullers B, but they're stacked with talent. Ex-internationals, Murray Wilkovich and Andy Ridley, Riddler, both ex-internationals. So there's quality in there.
Quality and, as I mentioned before, composure. They're not looking out of the boat, maintaining a steady rate. Out in front, of course, it's much easier to do that, but they've done that after a difficult incident early on where they seemed to be in their station, but nonetheless the race was stopped and restarted.
As you say, Bolts, composure is a great word, and I think staying composed, whatever the river throws at you, whatever the opponents throw at you, is a pretty important thing to do. And we see the group from Tideway Scullers here looking composed. They're working hard, I know they are, I know what it feels like. Rowing like that looks easy, but it's certainly not. They'll have had a lot to think about, a lot to do. They'll be hurting physically, as well as having had a fair bit to think about. They'll be pretty pleased, I'm sure, to be coming through and now in control of this one. Coming down in front of those stools and then the floating grandstand. And that's a win for Tideway Scullers. Looks like just over clear water ahead of the crew from Thames Rowing Club. I don't expect to see any hands going up, any objections coming. No. So that's the confirmation, the Wyfolds. Win for Tideway Scullers over Thames. And let's have a little look at that clash again and see what was going on as the crews came through the island. It was Thames who were off their station. Boris has got the flag out. He's trying to warn them, but it's very early in the race. The blades get entangled, and Boris goes for it early and says, no, let's stop the race.
Yes, they certainly clash their blades, and that's very difficult to get out of. Quite often there's damage, and quite often one of the oarsmen in the middle of a clash like that can lose his blade. They extricated themselves, but it was the right thing, I'm sure, for the race to be stopped and restarted, because Tideway Scullers looked as if they were interfered with. In the end, they came away and won a very good race.